Imagine for a moment that every step you take, every time you bend to pick up a grandchild or reach to open a cupboard, your body reminds you with a twinge, a stiffness, or even sharp pain. For many people over 50, this becomes the silent thief of independence. Bones losing density, joints growing stiffer, and a slow fear that movement might one day betray them. But here's the mystery. Our bodies actually hold the keys to resilience, strength, and fluid movement. We just need to know how to unlock them. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Wellness Blueprint Over 50. In today's journey together, we'll uncover 3 essential vitamins that could mean the difference between fragile, painful bones and a body that still carries you with confidence. And the most surprising part? These solutions are simple, natural, and within your reach starting today. When I first meet new patients who are struggling with bone pain, stiffness, or that nagging ache in their joints, I often ask a very simple question. When was the last time you spent time in the sun? You'd be surprised how many people pause, think about it, and realize it's been days, weeks, sometimes even months. That pause matters because sunlight is one of the body's most natural gifts. It helps us produce vitamin D, often called the sunshine vitamin. And without enough of it, our bones and joints quietly begin to weaken long before we notice the signs. Think of vitamin D as the key that unlocks a safe filled with calcium. You can eat all the calcium-rich foods in the world, drink milk, or take supplements, but if you don't have the key, that safe remains locked and your bones never get the treasure inside. Calcium is the brick and mortar of your skeleton, but vitamin D is the foreman that makes sure the construction actually happens. Without it, the bricks pile up uselessly, and the walls, your bones, stay fragile. I remember a patient named Margaret, a retired teacher in her early 60s. She came to me after her first fracture, a simple fall in her garden that led to a broken wrist. She told me she had been diligent about drinking milk all her life, yet when we tested her, her vitamin D levels were critically low. It was as though she had been sending all the right building supplies to a construction site, but never hired anyone to put them together. Once we corrected her vitamin D levels, her bone density improved within a year, and she told me she finally felt steadier, less fragile, and more confident stepping outside without fear of falling. That's the power of this vitamin. But vitamin D doesn't stop at bones. It also soothes inflammation, one of the biggest villains behind joint pain. Picture your joints as hinges on a well-loved door. Over time, dust and rust creep in, and every swing becomes harder, noisier, and more painful. Inflammation works the same way inside your body, but vitamin D acts like oil on those hinges. It reduces that inflammation, helping the joint move more freely and with less discomfort. That's why so many people notice relief from arthritis pain and joint stiffness once their vitamin D levels return to normal. Another hidden role of vitamin D lies in protecting the cartilage, that soft cushion between your bones. Without enough of it, that cushion wears down, leaving bones to rub against each other like sandpaper. But when vitamin D is plentiful, it helps maintain that cushion, letting you bend, twist, and walk without grinding pain. Now, how do we actually get enough? Sunlight is the simplest way. Just 10 to 30 minutes a few times per week on your skin can work wonders, though the exact amount depends on your location, season, and even skin tone. Unfortunately, many of us spend most of our days indoors, or we live in regions where winter steals the sun for months at a time. That's why food and supplements become important backup plans. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are rich in vitamin D. Fortified foods, milk, some cereals, even certain orange juices are other reliable sources. For those who dislike fish or dairy, supplements can fill the gap, and they're especially useful in older adults since our skin produces less vitamin D with age. But balance is everything. Too little vitamin D in bones become brittle. Too much in calcium levels in the blood can rise dangerously, leading to kidney problems or calcified arteries. It's like seasoning a dish. Just enough salt makes it perfect. Too much spoils the meal. That's why it's wise to work with your doctor, who may order a simple blood test to check your levels and guide you to the right dose. There's another player in this story, magnesium. Imagine vitamin D as a car and magnesium as the fuel. Without enough magnesium, vitamin D struggles to do its job. That's why people who restore both nutrients often notice greater improvements in joint pain relief, energy, and muscle strength. Together, they create harmony, a kind of orchestra where bones, joints, and muscles all play their parts in tune. Science backs this up. A 2019 study published in the journal Nutrients found that vitamin D deficiency is linked to increased risk of osteoporosis, falls, and fractures in older adults. The research showed that correcting deficiency not only improved bone density, but also reduced inflammation markers, meaning less joint pain and stiffness. This isn't just theory, it's well-documented evidence that your daily habits can rewrite the story of your bones. So if you've been living with aches, hesitating to climb stairs, or worried that your bones feel too fragile, remember that the solution may start with something as simple as light, food, or a small supplement. Vitamin D is not just another nutrient, it's a lifeline to stronger bones, smoother joints, and greater freedom in movement. For many of my patients, restoring vitamin D was the first step toward reclaiming independence and joy. If vitamin D is the key that unlocks calcium, then vitamin K2 is the wise guide that shows calcium where to go. And believe me, where calcium ends up makes all the difference between strong bones and painful joints. Imagine loading bricks into a wheelbarrow and then just dumping them anywhere on a construction site. Some might land in the wall where they belong, but others would pile up in the doorway, blocking the entrance, or worse, scatter across the path, causing someone to trip. That's what happens when calcium enters your body without vitamin K2. Some gets into your bones, but some drifts into the wrong places, like arteries or even joints, where it creates stiffness, pain, and long-term damage. Vitamin K2 acts like the traffic controller of calcium. It directs this vital mineral into bones and teeth, while keeping it out of soft tissues where it can cause harm. Inside your bones, K2 activates proteins like osteocalcin, which is like mortar binding bricks together, helping your skeleton stay dense and resilient. Without it, the bricks crumble, the wall weakens, and fractures become far more likely. I think back to a patient named Harold, a 72-year-old grandfather who loved carpentry. He came to me complaining not just of knee pain, but also of feeling winded on short walks. His bone scans showed thinning, and his arteries showed early signs of calcification. In other words, the calcium he'd been diligently consuming wasn't staying in his bones, it was sneaking into his arteries. When we added vitamin K2-rich foods and a supplement to his regimen alongside vitamin D, his bone density improved and, more importantly, his cardiovascular risk markers began to settle. Within a year, he told me he could walk farther without gasping, and his knees didn't ache nearly as much. "It's like the traffic jam cleared up inside me," he joked. And in a way, he was right. Vitamin K2's role in joint health is often overlooked, but it's critical. When calcium deposits build in the joints, it's like gravel in a hinge. Every movement grinds and hurts. By guiding calcium back into bones, K2 reduces that risk and keeps joints freer, smoother, and less inflamed. For people with arthritis, this can be a game changer, providing both bone strength and joint pain relief. Now here's the challenge. Vitamin K2 isn't nearly as easy to find as vitamin D. Our bodies can't make much of it, and it doesn't hide in every food group. One of the richest natural sources is natto, a traditional Japanese food made from fermented soybeans. I'll be honest, it has a strong smell and a sticky texture that many people outside Japan find challenging. But inside that unusual dish lies a highly active form of K2 called MK7, which stays in the body longer and does its work more effectively. If natto isn't appealing, don't worry. There are other options. Grass-fed dairy products like cheese, butter, and milk contain decent amounts, especially varieties aged through fermentation. Egg yolks from pasture-raised chickens are another good source. Some fermented vegetables, such as sauerkraut and kimchi, also carry small amounts, though not as much as natto. Still, weaving these into your meals adds up over time. For many older adults, though, supplements become the practical route. When choosing one, it's important to look for vitamin K2 in the MK7 form rather than MK4, because MK7 is more bioavailable and sticks around longer in the bloodstream, providing more consistent protection. Many bone health supplements wisely combine vitamin D3 with K2, recognizing that they're partners in the same mission. One opens the door for calcium, the other walks it home. The research here is compelling. A study published in Osteoporosis International found that higher vitamin K2 intake was associated with improved bone strength and reduced fracture risk. Another line of research shows it helps prevent arterial calcification, protecting heart health, while simultaneously improving bone density. It's rare to find a nutrient that serves both the skeleton and the cardiovascular system, but K2 does just that. I often describe vitamin D and K2 together as a dynamic duo, Batman and Robin, if you will. Vitamin D tells calcium to show up, and K2 tells it where to sit down. When both are present, the system hums with balance. When one is missing, chaos follows. Calcium either doesn't get absorbed at all or ends up causing harm where it doesn't belong. For anyone over 50, especially those already experiencing stiffness, joint pain, or concerns about osteoporosis, incorporating K2 can be transformative. I've watched patients who feared broken hips, wheelchairs, or losing their independence discover that their bones could indeed grow stronger again with the right nutritional support. It's not magic, but it feels close. And perhaps most importantly, K2 brings peace of mind. Instead of wondering if the calcium in your diet is betraying you by stiffening your joints or clogging your arteries, you can rest easier knowing it's being shepherded to where it belongs. Stronger bones, more flexible joints, and even a healthier heart. That's the gift vitamin K2 offers. For older adults, it's not just a nutrient. It's a safeguard against the hidden dangers of aging bones and joints, and an ally in reclaiming the freedom to move confidently through life. When most people think of vitamin C, they picture a glass of orange juice at breakfast or remember being told to take it during cold season. What often gets overlooked is that vitamin C is one of the quiet architects of your skeletal and joint health. If vitamin D is the key and vitamin K2 is the guide, then vitamin C is the builder's glue. It holds everything together by making collagen, the very protein that gives your bones strength and your joints flexibility. Without enough of it, that glue weakens, and what should be a smooth, resilient system begins to fray. Collagen is everywhere in your body. It's in your bones, ligaments, cartilage, skin, even in the tiny structures that let your joints move without grinding. When collagen production falters, bones lose toughness, joints lose their cushion, and movements that once felt effortless begin to hurt. I often tell patients to think of collagen like the padding in an old armchair. At first, the fabric looks fine, but sit down and you notice the springs pressing through. Without vitamin C, your body can't replace that padding, and suddenly every move feels like sitting on exposed springs. I recall a patient named Elena, a 68-year-old grandmother who loved gardening. She came to me worried because her knees felt like they were giving up on her. Walking up the steps to her porch became an ordeal, and kneeling to tend her flowers felt impossible. When we looked closely, her diet was light on fresh fruits and vegetables, and her vitamin C intake was far below what her body needed. We worked together to adjust her meals, adding bell peppers, strawberries, and citrus fruits, and within months she reported not only better energy, but also less stiffness. She said, "Doctor, I can finally kneel again to plant my roses." That small joy meant the world to her. Vitamin C also brings another hidden benefit. It fights inflammation. Remember how inflammation is like rust in the hinges of a door? Vitamin C acts like a protective coating that prevents the rust from spreading. As an antioxidant, it neutralizes free radicals, those unstable molecules that accelerate aging and damage tissues. By calming this storm, vitamin C helps joints move more smoothly and slows down the wear and tear that often leads to arthritis pain. It's one of the reasons why diets high in vitamin C are consistently linked to lower rates of joint problems in later life. The beauty of vitamin C is how abundant it is when we choose colorful foods. Citrus fruits, like oranges, lemons, and grapefruits, are classic sources, but some of the richest come from unexpected places. Bell peppers, especially the red and yellow ones, pack more vitamin C than an orange. Kiwi, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, and spinach are other excellent choices. Each vibrant color on your plate is like an artist's brushstroke, painting resilience into your bones and joints. But here's a crucial point. Vitamin C isn't stored in the body the way vitamin D is. It's water-soluble, which means whatever you don't use gets flushed out. That makes daily intake important. You can't just load up one day and expect it to last. Think of it as watering a garden. You can't dump a month's worth of water all at once and expect the plants to thrive. They need regular care, steady nourishment. Your body's no different. For those who struggle to get enough through diet, supplements are an option, though I always encourage food first. Whole foods don't just provide vitamin C. They come with fiber, other antioxidants, and plant compounds that work in harmony. Still, if appetite, dental issues, or lifestyle limit your fruit and vegetable intake, a supplement can provide steady support. Many joint health formulas wisely include vitamin C alongside glucosamine or chondroitin because it helps the body actually build and repair the cartilage these compounds aim to support. Scientific evidence reinforces this. A well-known study from the Arthritis and Rheumatism Journal found that higher vitamin C intake was associated with reduced risk of cartilage loss and progression of osteoarthritis in the knee. This isn't just about preventing colds. It's about preserving the very structures that allow you to walk, bend, lift, and live independently. When you start bringing more vitamin C into your daily rhythm, the changes may be subtle at first. You might notice less morning stiffness, quicker recovery after activity, or even healthier skin, since collagen also keeps your skin elastic. But over time, those subtle changes add up. Stronger cartilage means smoother motion. Better collagen means fewer fractures and steadier bones. And reduced inflammation means more freedom from the constant nag of pain. I often tell my patients that vitamin C is like a quiet friend. It doesn't shout for attention the way some vitamins do, but it's always working, always repairing, always protecting. For anyone over 50, especially those wanting not just to avoid disease but to thrive in their daily lives, vitamin C is indispensable. It holds the body's structure together, cushions every step, and shields your joints from the fires of inflammation. So while that glass of orange juice might seem simple, know that inside it is a powerful ally in your fight for mobility, independence, and joy. And when you fill your plate with the bright colors of fruits and vegetables, you're not just eating, you're actively building a future where your bones and joints carry you with strength and grace. We've journeyed through 3 powerful allies for your bones and joints. Vitamin D, the sunlight vitamin, helps your body absorb calcium and strengthens every step you take. Vitamin K2, the traffic controller, makes sure that calcium goes where it belongs, into bones, not arteries or joints. And vitamin C, the quiet builder, fuels collagen to cushion joints and protect against inflammation. Together, these 3 form a trio of strength, flexibility, and resilience. They aren't just nutrients. They are tools to preserve independence, reduce pain, and bring back the joy of movement at any age. I'm Dr. Brian, and I hope today's message encourages you to see nutrition not as restriction, but as empowerment. Your bones and joints are your lifelong companions. Treat them well, and they'll carry you farther than you ever imagined. If this video resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to Wellness Blueprint Over 50. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's your daily vitamin routine, and how has it shaped your health journey? Remember, you're never too old to rebuild strength, reclaim freedom, and move through life with confidence and joy.